Hi, everyone. So, when we look at Scorpio, we're always dealing with the root of our suffering being in our concern with gain or loss. It's always about, I want more of this thing, or I'm afraid of losing this thing. And that concern with gain or loss is really rooted entirely around attachment. And our attachments for a particular outcome to maintain a certain status quo means that our perspective of life, how we perceive the world around us, will be filtered through the limitations of our own fixations. When we look at Mercury in Scorpio, Mercury really corresponds to our story. It's our linear organization of reality. So it's like this, the way we're orienting and mapping out our experiences. We're going to be thinking and seeing things and gathering data and having thoughts about ourselves, about reality, in a way that reflects wherever we're at in that deep journey of unearthing our deeper psychological patterns. If we're fixated on control, I don't want to lose this, then our thoughts, Mercury, are going to be directed towards whatever that is. If we're fixated on getting someone else to be the way we want them to be, then the data that we'll literally collect, like the things that we'll actually see, the information that we'll be absorbing will be filtered through that sort of distorted emotional fixation, on a revenge, avenge, getting back, control, victimization. The field of data around us is potentially infinite because life is full of data. It's not limited to, in this room, there are only 12 pieces of information. There's actually infinite amounts of information anywhere. The information that we see is specific to the reason why we're seeing it. There's no objective information out there. Anything can be given and taken as a fact or as a data. So it really comes down to, when we're looking at Mercury, why are we collecting the facts, the data, the information that we are? Why are we organizing our reality in these specific linear ways? I do it my way, you do it your way. And the Mercury and Scorpio dynamic really says we're going to be investigating and gathering information, and thus being in relationship. We're going to respond to what we think is out there. It's simple as that. All is a reflection of where we are in our relative resistance or cooperation with our own evolution and soul growth. The degree to which we are looking inside at our own fixations, our own fears of gain and loss, will really determine what we're working with, what we're seeing, how we're relating to the world around us. If we're really developing this psychological depth and are willing to, almost like gather internal information. Oh, I'm feeling this, Mercury. I'm identifying an emotion, identifying fear. These deeper psychological experiences that we have with Scorpio: distrust, jadedness, hurt, fear of opening, fear of losing, wanting to hold on, jealousy. Just being able to gather that information instead of turning it outward and then seeing the world according to the stuff we got going in here. It's to actually have the wisdom and the patience, really, to understand that we're only always going to see the world according to what we got in here. And so it's to turn that Mercury function inward. And then it's a probing process. This function is very much about becoming curious, Mercury, inquisitive, asking the right questions to unlock the right perspective. With Mercury, we ask a question, and that question is like a key. But we couldn't conceive the question if there wasn't already an orientation to a particular quality of learning and discovery. Right? Our intentions for life are what bring forth our questions. And so this desire to know ourselves can really bring a lot of insight. Right now, we're in this window, at the time of this video, in the 3 days or so before Mercury stations retrograde. So it's only moving half a degree. So it's like there's a stilling happening. We feel like we're entering into a phase. And we can't grab the tiger. We can't grab the tiger by the head and conquer the whole thing, but we can grab the tiger by the tail. Like, I notice this. Here's what I'm feeling. Or we can start on the outside and bring the outside in. These are the things that I'm experiencing. These are the ways that I'm feeling in my relationships. These are the areas where there's a lot of emotional stagnation or clutter. This is where fears are rising. And we can just identify it, kind of hold it, and to not get entangled in it. To not try to seek resolution, for sure. We're going to find resolution on the level of our consciousness. And so the unrefined tendency for us humans is to seek resolution from the state of consciousness of perceiving the problem. Being in fear, being in jealousy, and then trying to work things out. It's actually just kind of go slower and just be like, okay, there's something much deeper than the gross level of experience that I'm able to identify. And as I shared in my last long video on this Mercury-Uranus opposition, the relationship between Mercury and Uranus is really important. Uranus gives us a larger, broader view of things without story. So I feel this Mercury retrograde window is really inviting us to let the mind kind of drop back further into the background, to become more relaxed and curious for what's arising, appreciating that there is, a wealth of suppressed content. And suppressed not like because of trauma necessarily, it's just we are not aware of the totality of what we are. And the thing that really keeps us from this awareness is the extent to which we're invested in finding ourselves through the outside. Our mind being so directed on the outside, treating the outside as if it was an outside and never really going within for too long. And this is the practice to cultivate more of an abiding attention on what's inside, with the appreciation that we can't control life. And Uranus, to me, really does reflect this principle that life is already, it's an existent thing that's right now. It's not a time thing. And so where we're going is already done. Like the path of our unraveling is one with who we are. And it's objective, it's impersonal. We're just going to walk it. Michelle often speaks about it as remembering the future. So we can really appreciate that we don't have to grasp and orient and react from fear with loss or concern with gain or loss. We can come into a deeper relaxation and just observe what is happening. And there's an intelligence and a compassion to life that it's like the more you relax, the more all the pieces fall into place. But the fear is like in the falling into place, it's not necessarily gonna happen in the ways that our conditioned mind is used to things. And maybe we won't be able to control certain things that we're attached to. But to what degree can we allow everything to come together the way it's meant to? And I feel this would be a really important theme for this Mercury retrograde journey.